Within its superficial lens, it's very easy to dismiss and look at the Logan Paul and DANIS beef as some sort of mindless banter. Two guys just trying to get each other's skins and trying to get some one-upsmanship in their upcoming boxing match. As simple as that sounds, and as simple as it is, it's a lot more than that. Because if we really try to look at it beyond Logan Paul and DANIS, let's say we look at it from the lens of the normal, average Joe's point of view. Let's say if you were that guy, right? In terms of if you've ever been bullied online because you have pictures of your family or because you put yourself out there and people know about your private life and everything that you do is constantly being documented. And lo and behold, what happens? You get used as a low-hanging fruit to somebody's pun and somebody's joke and somebody's punchline at your own expense. So, yes, we understand that it is a bit below the belt, right? Because you just can't go out and say that about other people's lives and other people's relationships and other people's personal daily occurrences. You just can't do that. But in the fight game, it's all fair game. All of this is fair game. And I think Logan Paul is in shock at the fact that somebody would go this far to try to ruin his life and then on top of that, expose him. But to the rest of you, normal, average Joes, you will also go through this same thing, believe it or not. And why do I say that? Because we live in a social media-driven world. Everybody has social media. People at your work have social media. All of your family members have social media. That's how you're able to communicate with them. That's not so much of the problem in today's world. The problem is that a lot of people know too much about you, and while people know too much about you, you're the one that can decide how much you want to disclose to the world in terms of information, in terms of what you go through on a daily basis. You often see these people complain online, oh, my goodness, I hate my job, or it's a tiring day, oh, another day, another dollar, and then people sign in on social media pages to tell people that they're clocking in at work and then clocking out and then telling people what they had for lunch, breakfast, dinner. Now, this is the absolute reality of today's world. You can literally know people's 3 meals in a day if they even eat 3 meals. If, let's say, they do intermediate fasting, guess what? You're going to know about that too. Because of the fact that they have a platform to show the world exactly what they're doing. Now, when it comes to your relationships, your marriage, and everything else that pertains to that, guess what? It's all open game, especially for you people out there that constantly disclose your life to the outside world. And people outside of your circles, even within the people within your circles, it's not good to disclose anything that you do with people in your family sometimes. Because guess what? You're going to become the scrutiny of gossip, of this water cooler conversation drama of some sort. Oh, did you hear what such and such said? Did you hear what he did or what he said or what he said to who? Oh, can you believe the nerve of this guy? He went out and did this. Can you believe this guy? He said this about this person. And it just never ends. It never, oh my goodness, it never ends. You know, a lot of you don't realize how much information you put out there. Now, it's one thing to say that, okay, well, I went to this university, or I came from this place, I grew up here, this is where I live now. But then people out there go beyond that. They tell people where they work at. And I'm often a little bit hesitant about that. I don't like when people post where they work at, especially if we live in a world today of volatile social media rants, and then on top of the fact that we live in a very divided society to the point where people have very strong opinions on things. And those strong opinions will eventually offend somebody that can cost you your career, that can cost you your life, and could potentially cost you financial, monetary means. That is the reality that we live in today. So the problem is that a lot of you disclose way too much about your life. And then you wonder why people go and DM your significant other, or people go out there and say things about your kids, or people going out there and saying things about what you should do, their opinions on maybe you should do it this way or that. Oh, guess what? I want to open a business. Next thing you know, the comments down below in your social media, what happens? People start talking about, oh, you know what? Maybe you should do this. Maybe you should take this career path. No, that's not good. You should do it this way. This is why you should never talk about your plans to anybody, because not only will they try to derail you in terms of discouraging you, in terms of putting it down, but also criticizing it, and to the point where now you're just lost in translation what you want to do, because the original thought and the plan that you had has now been altered by somebody else's opinion, and now you're scrambled all over the place. And don't get me wrong, there is absolutely nothing wrong with taking advice, with taking a serious note when it comes to doing the right things. Maybe you should do your lighting this way. I hear in the comment section people tell me, well, you should get this type of camera, or you should get this type of microphone because it's going to be better for your content. Great. These are all great advices. And obviously I'm using these as hypothetical references to the reality of what people face when they disclose all the things that are related to them in social media. Now, it's okay to take advice. It's okay for people to give you advice. But what isn't okay is for you to constantly disclose everything that you're doing. Next thing you know, you go out there and you disclose to the world, in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to go have a Hawaiian vacation. And then within that 2 weeks, I'm not going to be home, and this is my address, and I'm going to be 1,000 miles away, and I don't have a Ring camera on my house. I don't have any protection. I don't have any ADT. I don't have anybody that's staying there. I know this sounds exaggerated to a lot of you people, but in reality, we live in such an intrusive world right now that a lot of you really disclose so much information of your life, and you just really don't understand how it's going to affect you later on. And maybe you'll get lucky and it'll never affect you. Maybe you're just one of those people that are just impervious to these things for one reason or another. The fact of the matter is, you're not. Because even when you don't see it in the outer surface, in the inner surface, you have people that talk smack about you, that talk bad about you, that say all these things about you just because you go out there and you post everything that you do. So now you're open to criticism. And again, this is a different world that we live in. Because back in the days, the only people that would face this kind of scrutiny in a public forum are nothing more than celebrities, or maybe your public figures or your local politicians. That's about it. But in the modern world that we live in today, it is quite unfortunate that it's in the matter of everybody being up in your business and being out there with the social media friends and circles that you have within your network and within your circumference, within whatever group that you're a part of. Maybe you're a part of a community. Maybe you're part of an online community. Maybe you're part of, let's say, a high school reunion forum or this and that. Now you're telling everybody your career. Hey, I got this job or this and that. Now all of a sudden people start talking, as innocent as that sounds. They're going to say something to the effect of, well, you know what, man, you should have, done this instead, or he should have done this instead. Everything and anything that you do, that you put out there, you're just going to constantly get criticism for it. And again, a lot of people look at this in a very innocent manner, and that is completely fine. The problem is that not everybody views everything the way that you do. All of a sudden, you go out there, man, it's very hard for me to say this, okay? Because, unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that put their kids on social media. And, again, your life is your own life. I'm not here to tell you how to live it, but since you're watching this particular channel, I can tell you the consequences that comes with that. So you think that by posting pictures of your kids online, that somehow people are going to look at you as some sort of righteous parent. Okay, maybe that's who you really are, but then you want to disclose this to a handful of people. Maybe some people in your friends list, or maybe some people in your, I don't know, like community chat box or something like that. And you don't really think much of it. The reality is that, unfortunately, there are people out there that are the R. Kelly types of the world, the Jeffrey Epsteins of the world, and you have them on your friends list, and guess what? They're looking at your kids' pictures. So, once again, is it okay for you to go out there and disclose everything about your life without consequences? You think that there are no consequences to these things? Now, I've been going on for about several minutes in this particular topic about social media disclosure. What does that have to do with Logan Paul and Dylan Danis? Well, right now, Logan Paul may not like to admit it, but his life is in absolute shambles. Of course, he's going to look at a video like this and many other videos that other people are going to make about him, and he's going to rebuttal it night and day and say something to the effect of, well, you know what, that was the past, this is now, she's with me now. Bro, the bottom line is people are running with their own interpretations about what you're doing and what you're getting into or what you're not getting into. And then they're creating all these different speculations that unfortunately are going to be horrible for your brand. And who knows, maybe it'll be great for your brand, because guess what? We live in a current society right now where there's a lot of simps. There's a lot of people out there that are weak men. There's a lot of people out there that can relate to this. And maybe that's going to catapult Logan Paul in a different stratosphere. Hey, I tell you what, if I was his public relations agent, this is literally what I would do. This is literally how I would spin Logan Paul's story after Dylan Danis went out and 10-7'd him in a single round of this online banter that they have going on before their boxing match. So you got to think about these things. There are consequences to everything that you do, especially with what you disclose online. It's not as innocent as you think that it is. It's only as innocent as you think that it is because, number one, as of the current moment of time, while you're releasing pictures of your vacation, releasing pictures of your kids, showing people the type of restaurants that you go to, taking shots of the meal that you ordered, all these are innocent and nothing is happening at that time. But guess what? You're going to end up in a situation with Dylan Danis and Logan Paul, and you're thinking, well, I'm not a boxer, I'm not a social media influencer, what does this have to do with me? It has a lot to do with you, because we live in a world where it's not only the superstars, the athletes, and the influencers that are getting the attention on social media. You are your own star within your own circumference and your own area of the people that you surround yourself with. And yeah, it may not be within the millions, and it may not be in the same magnitude as somebody that has to deal with millions of trolls, millions of people calling them out, millions of people talking bad about them. But the reality is that even with those few thousands of people, or even hundreds of people, and then you lower it down to tens and dozens of people, it's still a problem. Whether it's a small problem or a big problem, you're not going to know until it hits you. And you're not going to know how people are going to use it against you. But then you also have to understand. You ever heard of the quote-unquote evil eye, green eye theory where there's people out there that are jealous of you, and you may not think anything of it. You may think to yourself, well, you know what? I drive an average car. I make an average amount of wage. I do okay in life. I'm not a super multi-millionaire or even a millionaire or even make six figures, but I live all right. Guess what? Even you average Joes out there, there are people out there that are going to hate your guts because of just the mediocrity that you live in, or what you perceive as a mediocrity. They perceive you as being the king of the world, and then they think to themselves, well, who does he think he is? Who does he think he is? This is the attitude that a lot of people have. So you got to ask yourself, is it okay for you to disclose as much information as you do online about yourself? And how are people going to react to it? You're not going to know. Okay, maybe you are one of those people that don't mess with other people. You're a good guy. You speak good about other people or this and that. Guess what? George St. Pierre was also a good guy. But he also follows his rule because he's in a fight world where, I mean, look, people are going to use it against him as a low-hanging fruit. That's why he never talked about who he was dating. He never talked about who his family and who his mother and father was, and didn't really disclose to them of who he is, his sisters, his brothers, or anything like that, because he did not want to give anyone an inch to what they can talk about in their private lives. So that is a choice that you have to make. You either want to live in peace, or you either want to live in a world where everybody is up in your business giving you an opinion about it. That choice is yours.